are you a Michael Jackson fan?
I actually met Michael Jackson when he came to Poland.
That
the
is
first
not
time.
true.
It just
You can't start with a
can go on
lie.
Facebook.
Really?
Uh-huh.
What's he
Quite
like?
Really, you want the Michael Jackson with kids jokes coming out?
Oh, okay. I guess we'll go there. This is going to be a fun conversation. Okay, Simon, Shimon, we had a chat yesterday.
And I have not met Michael Jackson.
You have not met Michael Jackson.
I'll get it arranged.
But real quick, for those who obviously don't know about PKO, but what it is that you do for them with the bank, and yeah.
Well, for a couple of years, I've been running all the products and segments. And as of the last 2 years, I'm focused really on digital transformation. So digital channels, changing the way we work inside, and working with all the innovation parts. So open banking, big data analytics, and all the fintechs engagements that we do. So that helps us to speed up the transformation, be quicker to the market, but also change the culture. So a lot of big part of my work is to make sure that we embed the digital culture within PKO.
Cool. And Coinfirm, I know we'll get into that, but just real briefly, what it is you do with them.
Yeah, we're generally known as the global leader when it comes to RegTech, so regulatory technology for blockchain and cryptocurrency applications, most notably through the Coinfirm anti-money laundering platform. So we use big data analytics to analyze crypto transactions for anti-money laundering purposes. But in Poland and then within the traditional banking sector in this region, we're most known for True Datum, which is what we did with PKO BP, which we'll talk about a bit more in a sec.
So you mentioned crypto, you mentioned money laundering. Let's hit some of those topics.
Anti-money laundering.
That's important. Anti-money laundering. But let's start the conversation on blockchain. Let's start a little bit broad. Just out of curiosity, how many of you are blockchain enthusiasts? I'm just wondering, should we go right into should we talk about what is blockchain, or can we go right into, I guess, what they're working on it?
Let's not do an education course.
So, blockchain, who's in the blockchain space, who reads about it frequently, who is building things? Okay, super. A couple of you, which is great. So I've done blockchain conferences in certain parts of the world. I'm very excited about what the two of you are working on. But before we go there, is blockchain the ultimate transformative power? We'll talk about fintech, but is it what everyone's saying it is, or is it just hype? Like we are decades away from real, any potential disruption.
Well, I would say we probably, after the initial hype peak where people just were excited about it but could not figure out how to find, real case, real life applications. So I think now we're in the stage where we can maturely think about using blockchain. It will be transformative, but not in the sense of coins. I believe that will take time before we will find massive use cases for the digital coins. But it will be transformative in the sense how you can build companies and manage data inside the companies. Can be transformative how you build processes inside large organizations like banks, where data accuracy is vital. And it can be transformative in the sense how you can think about, established businesses done in a new ways. I mean, asset tokenization probably is still before its, Uber moment, but I think that will be one of the biggest use cases that we will see in the future. And this is also why a couple years ago we've been so excited that, we wanted to start working with blockchain technology in a real sense. So not be academic in terms of reading about it, going to conferences. We decided that we want to find good partners, startups through our acceleration programs, and start just experimenting with them and finding proof of concepts that could have chance for implementation.
Great. Grant, which sectors do you think are prime for disruption from blockchain?
I try to not have the utopian, it's going to save the whales, the trees, and the snails type of approach. I don't think that's realistic. I think the average person in the world is going to have their life changed or affected by this or improved in some sort of sense, but they're not going to know it. I like to, a lot of people like to compare this to the internet, kind of movement. The internet kind of changed more of our user interface. Blockchain's going to change more, kind of what you're alluding to, which is, the back end of our lives. So it's going to change the foundational systems and operations and how things operate that you don't see. Just like if I ask the average person here, what technology is used in your PayPass when you go up, the CEO of the bank most of the time probably doesn't even know. Who the provider is or what tech is behind that. When it comes to the coins thing, I'm a little bit in disagreement around that. I'd like to take things out of real use cases, what's going on in the market. So like the largest bank in Japan created its own stable coin. We help service that. So they're already using that, testing it around convenience stores with their employees. So I think, once again, my viewpoint is in a few years you're going to have hundreds of millions of people using crypto in some sense, but not even know it. Because why do they care as long as the benefits are put down to them? And on the flip side, you're going to have, at the very bare minimum, you're going to have, forward-thinking banks like PKO BP, doing more of kind of this back-end systematic integrations to help provide better services and operations for themselves as well as for their clients overall.
Just to comment on Grant's vision with the coins, why I'm skeptical about Bitcoins or any other coins becoming mass market solution. We need to solve several issues before we can dream of a state like this. First of all, is scalability. How fast it is to send money using blockchain or Bitcoins, and if you imagine, increasing the number of users, the number of transactions, will blockchain be scalable at this moment? Second point, if you want to have a mass use case, it has to be a global solution. These days we are fighting with broken payment networks as it is today, and because it takes a couple days to send money from Poland to other countries, and we need to fix that. So if you think about blockchain applications, you will need to find regulatory solutions for different markets in order for the money or coins to move around the world. And I think that's where we will be finding troubles for whichever solutions that will aim at being global, at being mass market, because regulators will have attempt to regulate that, and we need to find ways to solve it. But I agree. It will come. It will come eventually, but probably first solutions will be found around how to fix internally and how to address, corporate real-life problems like the ones we did together with Coinfirm.
Yeah, our disagreements are mainly seemingly based off timing as opposed to the core viability. It's like what crypto, when, etc. Yeah. We'll agree on that. It's just when, I guess, is the question.
Yeah.
And I do want to talk about this partnership for sure, but I also want to let people know, as you can see, there's a question up on the screen. So do check slido.com. Feel free to use W078 and put questions up. But let me ask about this, why the two of you are sitting together and how you guys are working together, and then we can take some of these questions.
As I mentioned just a moment before, our attempt to get to new technology was, okay, rather than read about it, let's just start working on it. And we've actually came across Coinfirm through our acceleration program. And at that time, what Coinfirm was offering was not really something appealing to us. So it was not the product that you guys had initially that brought us together, but the team that Coinfirm has, first of all, had a really good knowledge of the banking industry from the inside. So that was a huge asset for us, because you guys knew how we operate from the inside and what are the typical problems bank find in internal processes. And that the team was, I can say, was super smart. So I think these were the two key points that we say, okay, let's start working with them, and how we can move from meeting these guys to having an environment where we can start creating proof of concept and testing it. And basically, the implementation we've done, for those of you who are not familiar with it, we've done the largest blockchain implementation for confirming documents banks are sending to clients using blockchain. So it was 5 million customers that received such digital confirmation. We've actually co-developed that product as we were working together. So that's something that is exciting for us because we were working hand to hand, and we came to Coinfirm with the regulatory problem that came over out of nowhere. And on the course of cooperations, we said, okay, I think we can solve it together. And that's something exciting. It's how we basically developing our relationship as we go.
Yeah, I don't think the market here, let alone the market globally, understands how much of a precedent what we've done with PKO BP sets, how much of a precedent they took, not just in the banking sector regionally, but globally. I'm not only co-founder, I'm also chief marketing officer. Part of my skill sets is to understand what's marketing speak and what's legitimate actual action. And almost all bank talk around blockchain you're going to see as marketing speak. Show our investors or shareholders that we're innovative, yes, yes, yes. But PKO BP, I have to admit, surprised me in a sense, in the most positive way possible, about how they approached working with us. And I think, thanks to the compliments, I think we're one of the few entities in the space who know how to sit down with an entity like PKO of that size, with their regulatory environment and what they're doing, and understand how to go A to Z. And we focused on solving a problem. We didn't try to create for a solution for a potential future problem or some sort of futurism. So we're also, us together shows globally that this is a legitimate technology to implement, has legitimate benefits, and can be done in such a large and complicated, organization as PKO BP. So, even more credit to them than to us, to be honest.
I was actually going to ask why you ended up working with them. I think you answered that question really well. I can see from your end, because I agree with you. I think most banks, it's just talk. It's PR, it's marketing, it's to be seen as innovative. And I was curious about the interactions. So I don't think you could have described it any better as to why. And obviously you're going to agree with that.
But look, the regulatory problems that we solve, could have been solved also using other technologies. And I've from time to time I'm being asked by colleagues from other banks, why did you choose blockchain, not a different technology? I think, with arguments like that was other technologies might be simpler, faster. They're not getting what we're really after. We are after, educating our employees on what is blockchain and how it can be transformative. We are after creating digital culture within the bank. Thanks to working with Coinfirm and actually solving and implementing on production such solutions, we have a group of employees that now are excited about coming up with next ideas. What can we solve using that technology? We have over 50 people that are actually part of a blockchain team within PKO, and over 12 or 15 proof of concept that are close to being completed and ready for implementation. So that's something where we find that it was an investment into mobilizing people to learn something new and actually thinking creatively how they can solve their own individual divisions problems, or they can find new business cases with that technology. So that was an investment in order to make maybe something that was more difficult, but it will be worth for future.
Great. There's questions for both of you on there, so I'll give you both a chance to think about it. For PKO, the question is, are you going to support once more cryptocurrency exchange platforms? Any chance to help them get back to Poland? And for you, the question that's come in is that California perspective and what's going on in the blockchain space here in Poland. Yeah. So whoever's ready to go first.
All right, so
I can touch on both probably, actually, but go first.
Yeah, so what we now after is actually going through tests with various proof of concepts based on our cloud solution and that we have inside PKO. Clearly, these days we've came out to market with solution of one-to-many, so being confirming documents we send to many clients. The next stage probably will be individual documents, so we'll be able to confirming also contracts with clients and individual documents with clients. We're working also on making sure we can do payments confirmations. So especially for international payments, that might be interesting solutions for some of our clients where they need that assurance that the payment has been made. And we're working also on coming up with a couple ideas for new business models, but here I was not allowed by the team to be fully open of what it's going to be. I will leave something for next impact.
I'll touch on that question as well, because really they're asking a fundamental question that's an opportunity that Poland as a market is losing out on, which will kind of segue into the second one. So I'm originally on the California startup ecosystem, but I'm half Polish as well, so that's the reason the California thing popped up. But what's happening on the market is you have multi-billion-dollar companies at this point, or billion-dollar companies, multi-hundred-million-dollar companies who are touching crypto assets, and they have no place in the traditional financial ecosystem to onboard those assets or to interact with the traditional financial ecosystem. One of the reasons we created Coinfirm was to provide the bridge between the two. So that's why we work with certain banks around the world to allow them to directly interact with crypto and blockchain assets, onboard crypto funds into banks, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of this depends on jurisdictions. So I don't want to comment too much on the reality in the Polish market, but the truth is that either the regulator or the bank usually has their hands tied behind their back in some sort of sense, and banks are very hesitant to take certain risks. Crypto is a risk for a traditional entity, and unless they're able to attack it, using tools like ours, especially around anti-money laundering, that's actually the main roadblock when it comes to that question is around anti-money laundering. Then you can start bridging that gap. But regulators also have to step up. EU's been actually okay about that, to be honest. So the last question, try to close it out real quick, is the California perspective. I just got back from Silicon Valley last week. I spent about a week there. To be honest, Polish market when it comes to the technical end from blockchain is more advanced in a lot of ways than the rest of the world. But to be brutally honest with you guys, and as a half Pole myself, we suck at PR and we suck at presenting ourselves. We suck at presenting our companies and presenting our solutions. So, I think Polish entrepreneurs or people in the crypto space out of Poland need to look within themselves a little bit more than trying to criticize everything outside of themselves. All the tools, the access, the networks are there. I guess you just kind of need grow some balls to work on the global sphere and not think so regionally. So the issues are more, stop blaming the regulator. There's plenty of avenues to handle it. Find your way. Poland's a great market, especially for R&D and anything high tech. So I suggest you keep going.
Which is why I keep saying, go on Twitter and Facebook and let's celebrate the good stuff that's going on over here. These two gentlemen are around. Hopefully you will spot them as they're walking. Please grab them, ask more questions. Thank you for the questions that have been coming in. I hope you enjoy the panel. Let's give it up.
Thanks, guys.
Simon and Grant.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.